Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to RVing in New England. This is the John DePietro Show. Tonight, we have a special guest. His name is Bob Zagami. He just showed up to our left. And Bob, how are you?
Fantastic. Another Wednesday night. We got a great show tonight. I'm really looking forward to this one. We found them. Actually, I just found them this week, and I saw an article that RVIA had published. So we'll bring them on in a little bit. Anything new in your world?
No, yes. After 15 years of virtually no trouble with our RV, we took a little trip last weekend. I noticed the RV wasn't running properly, and it was diagnosed as needing a new transmission. Now, the bad part is we need a new transmission. The good parts are we haven't had any major repairs with it in 120,000 miles. In fact, it still has the original brakes. But the gooder part is that the quote-unquote problems developed when we were still near home. So we weren't in upstate New York, we weren't in Pennsylvania, we weren't in Ohio. So you know what? It's part of RVing, and people say, oh, aren't you upset? Well, I'm not upset because I dodged the bullet for since 2008 to 2023 with the same unit.
Right.
But you know what? We're approaching retirement from babysitting after 12 years of babysitting. And we certainly plan on hitting the road. We'll do another Do It Now 23 tour. And after that, we hope to head down south for a while, get to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. And I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. My wife doesn't want to. But we want to do some of those cool bucket list things that, you know what, you have to do with them when you're young enough to remember them. And physically enjoy it. So we're looking at all that stuff. And
let's check and see who got on here early today. Jerry Plant in the number one slot. All right, Jerry. Jerry's with Majors RV. I think he's retired.
He's not. No, he's a free agent now.
He's a free agent. He's also an inspector. He's
right.
an RV inspector. Jim Conboy from New England RV Roof. Walter from where?
Central Mass.
Okay, Frank is on. Dante's on. You still back up in Maine, Dante? Ryan Hadley is on. Thanks for showing up tonight, Ryan. Ryan is our other independent mobile tech, so he'll be interested in today's show. Convoy says 120,000 miles. Time for new brakes. Hope you already have changed the tires.
I'm on my third or fourth set of tires, Jim, but thank you. Jerry. I have nothing better to sit around and wait for you guys.
For us guys, and Dante's up in Maine. All right, great to see you. All right, let's not delay them anymore. I want to introduce you guys to Krystal and Mike LaMar, and there they are. And welcome to the show. We've been communicating today off and on, and instead of me telling them who you are, why don't you give us a little history? And then we'll let the questions fly, and we'll talk about the things that you are embarking on. But give us a little background on how you got there.
Well, thanks for having us, Bob and John. It was a pleasure to meet you guys. We started RVing back in 2019, and we were home inspectors. And at that point, we decided, after about 8 months on the road, that keeping our license in one place wasn't working so good. So we needed to figure out something else. And I went down the inspector route, and Krystal was going to follow as an inspector also. Then we decided, let's just try something else.
I mean, come on, we know the best thing I could do is just, take care of the office. Mike's the people guy, he's a technical guy. So, people like him.
Well, I don't know.
Krystal, we can just like you on our own. You don't have to tell us.
Right. They just haven't met you yet.
So yeah, we did that. He did, I think, a fairly busy. I mean, we were pretty busy for a season or two, but then things changed. People weren't buying RVs as quickly, and people really just wanted to maintain their units. So, it wasn't even on my radar, but I got a email actually from a friend of mine in the industry, Mike, and they're like, "Yeah, there's this scholarship coming up for the RVWA. They're sponsoring, some classes for just ladies, for all ladies technical class." And I was able to be a scholarship recipient, and so grateful and a little overwhelmed, like, where do I start with this? But they were amazing. Like, they put us up in a hotel. They took care of all the food, all the logistics. So all I had to do was focus on class, which is what I needed to do.
And you did quite well.
Thanks. And I don't know, like, something about just the things we were discussing, Mike's like, I think that might be worth it if they have another, series for 1 and 2 coming up. You signing up was the next step. So
yeah, at that point I took the level 1 and 2 after Krystal finished her class, and it's been really great for us.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, I just think watching him do level 2 kind of helped me a little bit, where maybe I can do this level 2 also, not just level 1. So trying to do the hybrid right now.
Mike, when you were doing your 20 years in the Marine Service, and thank you very much for your service, were you in a technical career? Did you have the skill sets, or Krystal?
I was in artillery.
Not transferable. Except at firesides, but that can be interesting.
So which side of the gun or the cannon you're on, right? Yeah. Krystal, what did you like most about level 1? Because you went in there not knowing anything about our RVs, am I correct?
Well, obviously I live in one. We're full timers. But technical questions, I just ask Mike. I don't try to figure everything out. You know how they say there's pink jobs and there's blue jobs? I did the pink jobs.
Oh, okay.
So learning the blue jobs weren't as hard, and just that, like, I could actually do it. I mean, I could have a little more confidence and know-how. Really was my favorite part.
So where do our friends, there's 8 letters that we have to memorize tonight and talk about. RVTI for both of you, but RVWA, which is RV Women's Alliance for Krystal. Have you had an opportunity to network with any of the women in that organization?
So the RVWA is fantastic for networking. Jessica has put me in touch with several different people to help with our business. We haven't been able to go back in person. We've been in Florida all winter working. So we'll be back in the area next month and see if we can make a couple events.
All the way up to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
It's one highway. Take 75, and then when you get up to 90, take a left.
Yep. Can't get lost.
You're there. Can't get lost on that one. Mike, how do you compare the home inspector gig with RV inspector work from that aspect?
It's a very different animal. The hands-on portion. So as a American Society of Home Inspectors trained inspector, it was less invasive than an RV inspection is. Mm-hmm. I could do, a 2,300 square foot home in 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And, as long as there wasn't a whole lot wrong. But then, when it comes to RVs, I'm there 4 to 8 hours, mm-hmm. depending on the type of unit.
And it's only 400 square feet, tops.
Yeah.
So you do that.
There's no cellar to go in, so you have to get on your back.
Yeah.
Crawl underneath, etc.
I often thought that there should be more home inspectors, or I thought that more home inspectors would gravitate toward RVs, but it doesn't seem like it's going that way based on what you just said. Do you know other home inspectors that have added RVs to their arsenal of talents, or is it that different?
But because they said artillery, all of a sudden you say arsenal of talent. That was a loaded question.
No. Oh God. No, I just thought because I'm not mechanically inclined. I've had motorhomes and trailers, and the best I can do is drive them. You know, if something went wrong, I was looking for a dealer, and you know, when I had all mine, we didn't have independent inspectors. I mean, it's just getting going, really. When you look at it, we probably, as an industry, could use 3,500 RV inspectors today. You know?
Yeah, we followed the model, and we looked at trying to convert more home inspectors, but they really, you know, a lot of the guys that have stayed in the game for more than, you know, 2 or 3 years, they have their base and they have their realtors and they have their clientele really set. And to do a shift like that, and while it, you know, each inspection individually is a little more lucrative, when they can put 2 or 3 home inspections in one day and make the same amount of money, they're pretty comfortable where they're at.
Interesting.
Yeah. Krystal, what do you like best about the training?
Oh goodness, the best part I think was the shop. That's where all the fun stuff happened. Poor instructors, I felt so sorry for them. We gave them heck, but I think we learned.
Now you were in the first all women's class, right?
That's right. Yep.
So-
So our instructors were so patient. You know, we had a lot of questions. I mean, a lot of us came from office jobs and maybe hadn't even turned a wrench ever. So, you know, this is a multimeter, guys. This is how it works. Really help people like me. They were so patient. Literally, I just couldn't believe it. So that was my favorite part, the shop.
Do you encourage other women to pursue this career?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, even if you don't pursue the career, if you just want to get trained to know how to fix things in case of an emergency, if you if you RV or camp at all, I think it's good for everyone to have skills.
Yes,
It's your own unit.
People do that. They don't necessarily want to make a living at it, but they want to know what they can do with their rig, because as you've learned in the time that you've been in, you know, first of all, you've been running around in a pretty good sized boat, so you know, things go wrong with that. But it's amazing that, you know, Terry Cooper down at RVTA, Terry will always tell you 80% of the problems could be solved with a little bit of training.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you think about, you know, we have a severe shortage of technicians. We don't have enough time in the day for the dealers to service all of the ones that they have. And, you know, mobile and independent techs are really a blessing for the industry if dealers use them the right way. In fact, we got Ryan on. Has Ryan said anything yet tonight other than hello?
No, Ryan's there.
Hey,
we should
Ryan.
say hello to some of our other.
Ryan's I'm going to hook you up with Ryan for a telephone call. He's an independent mobile rep that joined NERVDA. It might be 3 years ago. It's at least 2 years. And he's done amazingly well. He got great customer service skills, and he knows what he's doing, and people like him.
Oh, there's Ryan. He's there.
That's a good recipe.
Yeah.
And he works with dealers too. Now, because he's stationary, he's out in Central Mass, but he has a lot of dealers that will use him on some of the remote jobs. Interesting enough, a lot of our RV dealers do not have mobile techs. Some did years ago, but they're so busy in the shop right now, they don't see the value in a lot of cases to buying the vehicle and hiring mobile techs and letting them go off the streets. That's another way that, you know, when you're into certain areas, you want to go in and make sure that you introduce yourself to the dealers and let them know if you're going to be in an area for a certain amount of time, that you'll be able to pick up some of their work that they want to do it. And I know some that have actually called Ryan in to work at the dealership itself. They've got, you know, they got a heavy workload, and techs have certain skills. So as I said to our guys, you know, if you got a lot of people with propane problems, put them all, you know, together and hire the best, not hire, but, you know, have the best propane mobile tech in the area come in for a day and work on 5 or 6 of them. And
Yeah.
You know, what else do we have? I'm going to go to the bottom. Oh, there he is. All right.
That's right.
We took him away.
Yep. Jim Roy is with us.
Silver Moose Restorations up in the woods of Maine.
Well, tell him what Jim does.
Jim restores vintage trailers, and about 80% of his work is Airstream trailers. He's the best known restoration guy in the country, probably, on Airstream trailers. Right now, he's got, you have to help me out, Jim. I think I saw a Facebook post the other day that you got 20 Airstreams in his yard right now. He's got a big workshop up there, but 20 Airstreams waiting. And if you went to him today and you had an extensive renovation on an Airstream, I mean, a really old one, rotted and what have you, you got a 2-year wait before it even gets delivered to Maine. That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Okay, Dante went through training. Now here's a good case. He got a motorhome a few years back, and he's handy. So he went to RVTI for the level 1 training so he could do all of his own work. And here he is. He's got a Camping World right down the street from his house. He asked twice to just come in and do PDIs for him and offload some of that other work. And there's a lot of situations like that.
There is. It seems like the dealers are really overwhelmed. You know, the numbers for the industry have been tremendous over the last few years.
Yep.
And so it's just, you can't keep techs on staff long enough to get them proficient, really, and then to have their proficiency have, production.
Yep. Here's Jerry.
Hey, Bob, why don't we do this? We jumped in with 2 feet telling them to tell us about themselves, but why don't we give our audience a little background as to how you found them and why they have an interesting story, because there might be some people that tune into the show to watch me and not necessarily worry about who the guests are.
That's why we tune in, to watch you, John.
To watch you.
I keep telling them I'm the best looking. I'm the older of the two, but I'm the best looking, and they come to visit with me. But anyway,
some of the stuff
RVDA, everybody in this industry puts out newsletters. You could spend the whole day trying to read all these newsletters. But in the RVIA newsletter this week, they had a feature story on Krystal. And I assume they got that. Because don't forget, RVTI is really owned by RVIA and RVDA, and it's the industry technician. Because years ago, we didn't have an association, or we didn't have a training school, so people would get their training all over the place, some good, some bad, and some of the training you had to get through RVDA, which is the dealer association. Some of the training and certification you get through RVIA, which is the OEMs or the manufacturer association. So you never knew you would go left or right, or where to get training and who's going to upgrade it. So the industry, I'm going to say 5 years ago, probably funded the RV Technical Institute, and they hired Kurt Hemmler, and he's been our only executive director and president of the unit since he came on board, because he came from an education background, which is important. We didn't want an RV person that had a lot of old habits or that kind of grew up in the industry, because we were building a training institute. We weren't building an RV dealership. So we brought in an educator, and it proved to be an invaluable decision. So Plant says mobile tech from a dealer or service center goes to a campground for one job, and he or she is gone for the day, which is true, because and Mike's shaking his head.
Yeah.
When you're there and somebody finds out that you can fix something, they start lining up, right?
Hey, as long as you're here, can you take a look at this?
Krystal said she wants to put a sign outside of our RV that says "Tech on duty, tech off duty."
Tech off duty homeschooling. Go away.
That's a pretty good idea. That's pretty good.
People knocking on our door, and I'm like, it's 7:30 in the morning, guys. Aren't you in Florida time? Come on.
Yeah, but I can't take a shower, damn it. So Don says, Bob is Jack Daniels' spokesman. Yeah, nobody's picked up on it yet. How come nobody's picked up on the fact that there is no Jack Daniels tonight. Let me see what kind of excuses they come up on as to why I do not have my favorite glass sitting there.
You really want to tell them, Sagami?
No, I can do it cleanly. Don says you can never have enough training. That's true. You're right, Don. I've been working on DePietro now for almost 12 years, and I still can't get him to be as good as me. All right, Jim says he got 26 vintage trailers at the shop, 20 are Airstreams. So I was close on
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I think the RVWA did a job to fab build at the school just to see if there'd be interest for ladies to, learn a technical thing. And I think that's what started it. From what they were telling me, I don't know if it was a vintage or exactly the details, but the job to fab seemed to be kind of a kickoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a vintage. It was.
It was a reasonably. It was only about, I'm going to say 5-6 years old, maybe, but they redid the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That motivated me. It was really neat to see.
Yeah. RuPaul.
Ryan says it's like blood in the shark water.
Yeah, when you get to a site and you're helping somebody out, there's a lot of looky-loos.
And they follow you around to see if you're camped there. So they get their golf carts and just follow your truck.
Well, it's an issue that's a real issue that these, especially the newer units, are so complicated with the electronics that people don't even attempt to do it anymore. It may have been at one time that if it was, a little circuit board for a light or a switch, people could attempt that. But with this new electronics that have so many implications if they are serviced incorrectly, that I think people, when they see that service truck there or someone with the knowledge base, they try to catch them up. Jerry said it so well. As long as you're here, in other words, I don't want to pay your fee to come here since somebody else already has. But
yeah.
Can I sneak in here for without getting a service charge and just tell me what I need to do?
But the other one is, I'm sure it won't take you long.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like that hard a job. You won't charge me extra if your husband comes, right?
Yeah. Crazy. So
So
tell us how you started our.
Go ahead.
Tell us how you started RVing in the first place.
Well, I have to preface it. We're faith-based family.
Okay.
And so we started, the kids were struggling in school.
Oh, public school, so much.
And so we got to the point where we're like, okay, we need a total paradigm shift for our family.
Okay, but let me stop you. You are not apologizing for being a faith-based family. You are explaining it, but you're not apologizing.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Right.
Because with this audience, you don't have to apologize for that.
We don't.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were doing our 21 days of prayer and fasting at the beginning of the year, and we were praying about camping because our 16-year-old at the time loved camping. That's what we did for her birthday. We rented a unit from our local dealer, went camping.
Which was a disaster.
It was. Nobody
That's a whole nother story.
Nobody did a PDI.
No PDI. Nothing was connected, water everywhere fast. But she still loved it.
So we decided at that point, maybe we'd like to be weekend warriors. And then
with a unit of our own.
As time went on, we're like, you know what? We'd really like one. Let's do that. And then during prayer and fasting, we ended up deciding that that's what God had for us.
Well, Mike had, the government job and just kind of all the things lined up. We had the houses and the cars and the rat race, and like my kids were just sitting in the back seat on devices, and I'm shuttling them from one activity to the other. And then I just noticed like they kept putting down their device, wanting to talk, wanting to be involved. And I'm like, Mike, I think they just miss us. Like you think that all the things and all the activities is what they need, and they didn't. They needed adventure. They needed time with us. And
Krystal said, if you get one more emergency call for a raccoon and a transformer.
At 3 in the morning, I'm done. It's over.
Well,
You know how serious they take all that stuff.
Because, a lot of people have really kind of found themselves and their families when they go out full timing. There's a full timing families group.
Mm-hmm.
There's a road schooling group.
Yep.
And I assume you're homeschooling them.
Yep.
We're members of full-time families. We do road schooling, the traveling mercies, the veterans on the road, all the different groups we can relate to. So we always have friends if we can meet up.
So the boys are 14 and 15. They're old enough to know to really understand what they see out there. They're not just 4 and 5 years old.
Oh yeah.
So they're collecting memories. Mm-hmm. They help us, like we do bearings on our own rig, and they're in there and they're packing bearings. They're brake clean, everything.
I think our oldest especially is really looking forward to being old enough to take the class.
Take over the family business.
Yeah.
We're trying to build legacy that way.
Yep.
You might be able to have the youngest person ever to go through RVTI. Kurt doesn't care how old they are. There's no restrictions. Send them up for the PDI course, level 1, and you can tell people you got 3 or 4 technicians in the family.
Then they really will be following us in the campground.
Have you noticed a significant decrease in the amount of time that they spend on the devices because you're traveling, or do you restrict it from a family? If we're asking out of line questions, don't answer them.
No, you're good. You're good.
You can just say, John, it's none of your business.
No, it's a great question. Like literally, so my kids, they wanted to go. So COVID shut everything down. They wanted to go to kind of a faith-based kind of a high school thing. It's just kind of a big gathering, kind of a big youth function. And my kids came home, said, Mom, everyone's standing with their devices and looking at their devices and looking at each other and, just kind of laughing back and forth and no one's talking. And I don't like that. So I really think this life is better for them to really engage in the outside. Like right now, they're down the road with friends and they're not devicing. They're hanging out. They're, talking. They're on scooters and bikes, doing whatever they can. So.
Yes.
So they're being kids, and that's whether we like it or not, it's the family circle, between not having 2 parents, not having parents that watch what they do on the devices. It's an issue nationwide. I mean,
families have it so tough. I mean, everyone's trying to juggle so much, having that extra help, I mean, honestly, the digital babysitter, I'm guilty. I mean, I'm like, here, be quiet.
Nope.
But, I mean, it's nice to see them,
They ask more often to go out for bike rides and walk trails. And can I take the fishing poles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, where are you getting your business from right now? Right from the campground you're in, or are you traveling, or what?
We network with a lot of other mobile techs, through our associations. And so, whether it's, a lot of them have already left Florida. So,
so we get the leftover work, but it's okay.
Let me switch to a couple of kind of questions. So Walter says, we stayed in a campground in Central Florida. There was a person with a mobile RV service. On the pin box, there was indeed a sign. Oh, a sign on the pin box. It says, the RV tech is yours. The RV tech is mine.
I love that.
Wait. The RV tech is yours. The RV tech is mine. And his better half would switch it back and forth when she wanted his attention.
There you go.
Okay. So
you can't have him today. He's mine.
It's a two-sided sign. That's like what you said, in terms of duty. So yeah.
Close for business.
Okay, so then Ryan says, let me go. Ryan says, I don't do that with service fees. If I'm at a campground and you're not scheduled, then you're paying a road call fee because it's not fair to the people that scheduled and paid the fee. That's smart.
I turned down a job today because the guy was like, wait, you want to charge how much? I'm like, that's our rates.
Right.
It's not really negotiable. We paid and we put the time in for our training and our expertise.
Right. You pay for services rendered. Right. And if they don't, and in this business, as you've learned, and any of our fans will tell you, there's more business out there than all of you guys can handle, and all the dealers. We know that. Read the forums and see how mad RVers are because they can't get an appointment, or they can't find a mobile tech, or they waited on the side of the road for 8 hours for a AAA to get a tow truck out to them or something. It's an issue, but it's also an opportunity, because if you do, and I've seen Ryan build his incredible business, and I never knew him 3 years ago. Because of the way he does it and his referrals. Referrals are critical to that.
Oh yeah, word of mouth is,
All right, Dante says, where are they located in Florida? I will be in Daytona. No, they're in what is it? Wauchula?
Side, yeah.
We'll be up in the Claremont, Orlando area second week of May while we're heading north.
Okay, that's where Walter lives, right? Walter's in Davenport, which I think is right next.
Oh yeah,
that's right down the road from there. Yeah.
Right. We'll make sure that Walter has all your contact information. He's in a house, but he's thinking about buying a Class B, so maybe he'll bring it down with him.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So all of you guys that are out there tonight, and gals, do we have any gals tonight? No, I don't think we do. I don't know where they went. What questions do you have for Krystal and Mike, or what advice do you have? You're all veteran RVers. What advice do you have as they start this business and grow this business? I know Dante's not bashful. Walter's not bashful. Walter will probably be the first one with a comment on it, because he does a lot of it. He's an engineer. He does a lot of his own work on his stuff too.
Oh, we firmly believe, like, if I can educate somebody over the phone on how to repair their stuff, I'm so happy to do that.
Good.
We've done some work with what is that service? The Just
Answer, yeah.
What's that?
The Just Answer. We've done some of those. It's an online answer service.
That's where they call in a line, get a tech, and then you charge them, right? For the time that you're on the phone with that. Yeah.
Don't let the business train you. I think that's a struggle.
Don Laws, who has been a work camper and an RVer for a long time, whatever the charge is, compared to bringing your rig into a service center, convenience is well worth the extra money. You're right, because it's a good point, Don. It's at that point, you got the technician right in front of you. You know what it is. It's not, well, we'll get you in on Thursday. And then you bring it on Thursday, and somebody looks at it and says, I don't see any appointment for you on Thursday. What are you talking about? So, yeah, having that, there is, and they should pay for a convenience factor for that.
One nice thing about it is when you can show the customer what's wrong and they can physically see it. And so it doesn't like go behind a curtain, in the service bay where you can't go.
And you can walk them through it. So if they need to ever do that repair again, their own self, if it's, something they can remember, I think it helps,
Jerry's got a good point here. He says about half of his business is teaching people how to use their rigs. And Ryan does that too. So there is a tremendous amount of that type of business out there, because we sold, over 500,000 rigs during COVID. We're selling a lot of rigs, and we're selling them fast. And the people are not getting the PDIs that they should have. They're not getting the training that they should have. And then they go out and they create, service problems, or they bring them back and it was just a simple switch that they forgot, or they were never taught how to turn on the water heater or something. So, but that's chargeable. I know Ryan charges to do that. He'll in effect do a PDI with a customer and charge them, and go through what years ago the dealer would have done with you. Would have taken 3 or 4 hours.
we've seen so many customers that are impatient to get their rig and go do something. Like, you need to take the time to figure out how to operate it properly. And, during that time period, our expertise, we've been doing it a couple years now, 4, and it's important to be teachable through everything.
I think expectation management is important, especially for ladies on the road. I mean, it is for everyone, but I think we sometimes have different expectations and what happens.
Well, so that says, don't sell yourself cheap. The cost is the cost. If a customer doesn't like it, they can fix it themselves. And I support that 100%. If people don't understand the value of what they're buying, then they haven't done their homework, or especially when it comes to referrals and stuff. And you're right. Do not discount it. You're better off walking away, because in business, and John will tell you this too, the one that complains and the one that nickels and dimes you, the one that always wants more than what they think they should pay for, that's the one that you get the most problem with.
Yeah.
The person that understands business is not going to be that type of person, and they're not going to try to get it down. Jim Roy, even on his ventures, says we try to educate our clients on what we're doing and show them how to use their newly built campers.
That's awesome.
Impressive.
That is impressive. Yeah.
Dante says some of the owners groups are invaluable when things need fixing. I fixed several issues from the Forest River group owners group, but thank goodness I had some training. Yep. Brian says you always have to have an open mind, and you learn every day.
Absolutely.
Well, that's for most people. I can't, John doesn't fit in that category, but he tries. He absolutely tries.
I think John probably knows most things already, right?
He knows it all.
No question. No question.
Bill,
I was wrong once, and that's when I thought I was wrong, but I wasn't.
Yeah. Bill says Bill runs a lot of our events for us, and been in the computer business a long time too. The same customer wouldn't try to negotiate prices at a dealership or with the AAA tow truck roadside. So why here? That's a good point.
That's good. Yeah.
You do that with the tow truck driver, and he gets up back in the truck and goes to the next job. He's gonna
drives away.
He's gonna forget you real quick. Frank says, interesting about AAA. Some auto road call services will not assist with a flat tire on a camper RV trailer. I can't speak to that. Is that true, Mike? You get the same kind of response, or?
Yeah, we've talked to a few folks that, they have AAA for their vehicle, or they have, roadside assistance through their insurance, and it doesn't cover their towable.
The message is, how close are you? Can you come help?
All right, Jerry says, not really the dealer's fault. They are busy finishing up. Jerry, I got halfway through that and I said, this isn't a typical Jerry comment. But you redeemed yourself in the end. Not really the dealer's fault. They're busy finishing up the build from the manufacturers. Very good. Very good, Jerry. I thought you went off the rails there. John knows all things no one else wants to know about. But John knows enough to listen to Bob. That's a good one. And Ryan, that may be the best one of the night. John knows how to cook SpaghettiOs. He's the only Italian that we have in our network that eats Italian food. I can't call it Italian food. Eats pretend Italian food out of a can.
Oh.
And the guy's Italian.
I don't know where that rap came from.
Maybe from the picture of the stack of SpaghettiOs that you have behind you in your office.
No, that's at a supermarket.
Oh, wait, we got a woman. Wait, time out. We got a woman. Kathy, thank you for coming in. What? Oh, that's a good question. Like, Kathy comes in. It's her first woman tonight, and she outbeats all the guys with the best question of the night. See? All right. What's the best way to find an RV mobile tech, and how far would they travel?
It's a good question and an unanswerable question.
Probably.
I would say, Kathy, let me take over here because intelligence need to rear its head here. Kathy, if you are in if you're in an RV park, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is to go to the office. And any good RV park would have a list of 2 or 3 sources for you. And I don't know. Well, let's ask Ryan this. Ryan, are you listed? Do you have a relationship with any RV parks that, will call you as the first resort? Not the last resort, but the first choice. The second thing to do would be to go on any of news groups that might be on Facebook or whatever and ask, say, I'm located in so-and-so area.
You could also go just regular Google and say RV service technician near me. So when they like when they do those, it'll come up. It'll be dealers. It'll be some others, but 1 or 2 in there may be it. Now there is a new group, RV technician something association, and if you go to RVTIA.org, locate. You can find the ones that's a growing group. There's more on there. You must be on there, Mike, because you went. That was part of your inspection program, right?
Yeah. So we've got the inspector locator and the technician locator, and RVTAA can find both inspectors and technicians.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of inspectors that started a website, My RV Resource, and they have a locator also.
Mm-hmm. But if you join, whatever group you're interested in as well, a lot of the technicians kind of,
and even if you're stuck on the road or something, that campground thing works, because they do. Every one of them's got a list on the wall behind the counter, because people they're not even taught that when they buy their RVs, that hey, if you have a problem, go to the counter, and get a list of the tech. And without being told that and explaining how you get service on an RV, whether you go through a dealer, whether you go through a mobile tech, then they're naturally, and we had a lot of this the last 2 or 3 years, their natural inclination was if something went wrong on their RV, they think the campground should have somebody to fix it because they're camping. They go up expecting to have somebody fix it. And
expectation management.
And they don't have it, but they'll give them the name. So even if you're on the road traveling, if there's a campground down the street, you just go in there and ask them, or find one and look at it that way. That's a good way to do it. And dealers, I'd like to think that dealers would also give the name out if they call the dealership, because especially if a dealer is not doing service, not doing road service, he's going to want to have names also, because he doesn't want his customer calling up and having a problem, and then say to them, well, I don't do road service. And say, well, yeah, but you sold me $100,000, $200,000 motorhome, and it's not working, and I'm 5 miles away from you. Well, we don't do that. Ryan, whoops, I did my thing here. Ryan says, yes, parks and dealers. Also Google that you need an RV tech. All right, that's another way of doing it. Okay.
It's funny. You remember when we used to let our fingers do the walk-in through the yellow pages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's just Google.
Now it's just Google.
Mike, I'm old enough that when I used to make sales calls, I used to go in that thing called the telephone booth with a roll of dimes and index cards. So
Yes.
I don't know if John's old enough to do that. Did you ever do that, John?
What's that?
The only way we could prospect was get a roll of dimes and go in the telephone booth. It'd be 100 degrees. You'd loosen the tie and had your index cards and start dialing for dollars.
No, I never did that. Again, it was when I started selling, it was from your desk with a phone, with a rotary dial phone.
Okay.
And, never hung around phone booths that much, only when I was changing clothes.
I was like, come on, we see your cape.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So you got it. She understands.
Dante says, John is correct. I do that at every campground. What do you do at every campground?
Ask about
ask about others in the area.
Yeah. you know. So you know what? We've got a million things going on here in only a short period of time yet. Yeah, deeper knowledge of repair status for, yeah, that's a pretty short one. That's a pretty short one. This 1,000 trails that you're on, how long have you stayed at this campground, and when will you be moving on? And will you like set up business at the next campground?
So we decided this season to try an annual where we just enter a contract for a certain period of time to stay at that, particular park for, it's just like if you buy a slot somewhere else at another park, the 1,000 Trails functions in an annual or seasonal. So we decided to do that. We'll be here till the 6th of May, and then we'll just use our park system as we travel north, and, all the rest of our discount parks, because we travel on a budget. We got teenagers that eat.
Okay. So you're going to be here till the
Can't
6th.
get them out of that, huh?
We'll be here till the 6th of May.
You're in Florida till the 6th of May?
No, we're in this area at this 1,000 Trails Park till the 6th of May. And then we go up to Orlando for a week, and then we leave Florida.
Okay, but you are in a park until May 6th?
Yep.
In Florida?
Yep.
Near Sarasota. So what we should do is I'll take a ride up, or meet halfway someday that you don't have any service work, and we'll grab lunch if we can do it. I'm out of here.
That'd be great.
I'm out of here in early May. Now, the alternative to that, it's not as good. You could always have lunch with John, but it's not as
Well, he's Superman, so we're good, right?
I can fly anywhere.
You just fly and meet us.
Who needs
It looks
JetBlue
like your
when you
cape's
can
on
fly
fire,
yourself?
John.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
What's that, Mike?
Your background looks like you got a little too close to the fire with your cape on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jerry Plant's in good form tonight. And I remember when Bob remembers that reporters ran into the press office and said, "Stop whistles." All right, Jerry's feeling his oaths.
Ryan wants to know where you head after Florida. You're heading up to Central.
Tim's on from Tim's RV in Irving, Mass. Hello, Tim. He's been busy. He hasn't been on for a while. He refers everybody to Ryan at TRIC RV. Now, how did you come to name your company? Which is
our home inspection business was American Dream Home Inspections.
Yeah.
And so we decided, when we launched, we have a little more freedom. So our American Dream turned into American Freedom. And now it's American Freedom Mobile Lifestyle.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little cheesy, but it's okay. I think it explains what what we're setting out to do, help people with their dreams of travel. And
was that prior picture taken in Fort Worth?
Yeah. At the Stockyards.
Stockyards, yep.
Yep.
Oh, at the Stockyard. Okay.
It was like 120,000 degrees that day. Texas. But fun day.
Oh, the Haws are coming back to New England for the summer.
Yeah. Well, I knew they were. We didn't know. Coming back for the summer, expecting lunch at least.
At least.
At least. I don't know if we had anything after the lunch though, Don. Oh, I should plug in my computer here before my battery dies.
Yeah. So guys, good decision to hit the RV trail full time. Well, let me ask you this way. Any crazy stories?
Oh my goodness. So we've been at this 4 years. You sure you want to ask us that? I think the craziest would be brakes in the Mojave.
Yes.
Brakes going out in the Mojave on the way out of California.
So when we were new, we were in California.
Really new, okay.
We followed the recommendation of the Dexter Easy Lube. Mm-hmm. And we put more grease in the axles before we were leaving California. And the grease exploded into the brakes and took everything out. And so we were on the side of the road in the Mojave with one wheel that wouldn't go. And thankfully, we were able to figure it out. I went an hour away from the family while they sat in the truck in 110 degrees.
So we haul 2 rigs. We've got our big rig and our dually that hauls that. Mike drives that. I don't do that.
Wow.
And then I drive a 2500 with our work trailer. So
I took the 2500 and the work trailer and ran into, what was it, Barstow?
I don't even remember. Somewhere way out there.
No.
Barstow or Apple Valley.
Yeah.
And
On the way to
Then-
Las Vegas.
yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
then
that's it.
the guy stayed open at the trailer repair place for me,
Oh, he's amazing.
gave me a new backing plate and hub, and I boogied back. We put it back together. My sons were trying to hold the sunbrella for me because the sun was beaten down.
Talk
Krystal,
about 120,000 degrees. That really was. Yeah. When it's too hot for the fire ants to walk on the pavement, it's bad.
and you stayed in the business, so that's testimony to your resilience.
Yep.
And
We're blessed.
RVers are tough people. No?
I feel like you kind of got to be. Our boys watching all this stuff.
So Walter's the guy in Davenport. In fact, Bill Sell, who was on earlier, probably still on, his son also lives in Davenport. But Walter says we're going to stay in Florida until May next year. Too darn cool still here in Massachusetts. Yep, that's why.
yeah.
48 or 44 earlier. Let's see what it is now.
What's
We're in
that?
shorts. We're in flip flops. Not rubbing it in.
It's only 78. It's getting cold out.
Yeah. Might have to wear shoes. I don't know.
Yeah, next month we head back up to Indiana
Mm-hmm.
to do some industry stuff. Krystal finishes her level 2.
Cross fingers for me, guys.
I think Ryan, I'm sure he means this for you guys. Where are you headed after Florida? So you're going to be there, then you're going to go to Orlando, you said?
We go from here to Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and then we're going up to Goshen, Elkhart,
Okay.
and then Lord willing, we're going out to Yellowstone.
No more crazy break issues.
Little on the site homework.
And now we know better.
on in-person education.
Yeah, for sure.
At what point, when do you expect to be in Elkhart, Goshen?
We should be there from the end of May to middle of June.
Okay. No, we'll be there. We'll be there in May, middle of May for the RV Power Breakfast, and then back in September for the dealer open house. Yeah, we'll
be leaving, I think, the 17th or 18th of June to try to get some of those national parks in.
Mm-hmm. Jerry says, stop at Wall Drug and buy a jackalope. Have you been to Wall Drug, John?
I haven't.
No, I haven't either. Frank says, the screen froze up. Is it something I said? Just didn't pay your cable company, Frank. This is the day they were going to shut you off. Walter's correct. Way too cold. Oh, Bill says Walter's correct. He was in Davenport a few weeks ago. There you go. Come down for some of that Florida sunshine.
There's plenty of vitamin D down here.
Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
We need to congratulate Mr. Zagami.
Why? For going the whole hour?
Wait for it.
Talk about resilience, huh? And nobody even took a shot at wondering why I don't have any Jack Daniels. Wow. Unless I missed it.
No, I know. I didn't see a word.
I didn't see it anyway.
I didn't see a word.
Jim's got to be a smart ass. That's a phone booth. Wait a minute. You're in the middle of the woods in Maine, Jim. You know, there's probably several of them right around Monmouth, Maine.
No, that's because they don't have phones yet.
Oh, get rid of those like 2 cans with the string in between. So you get
Oh boy.
So, Krystal, what advice would you have for people who are thinking, and you too, Mike, for people who are thinking about going to the RV Technical Institute and getting some training, whether they want to do it for personal pride or they want to do it for a career?
Do it. Don't hesitate. I mean, just even level 1. Like if you RV or camp at all, I think it's a good idea. There's a lot of programs out there, but I really like the instructors and the way it's laid out for level 1 at this school.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the instructors are just pretty phenomenal.
They have their finger on the pulse of the industry and what's evolving, because technology is changing so fast. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it's really good because and that was the purpose of putting it in Elkhart, because about 85% of all the RVs in the world are made in Elkhart, Goshen, or Elkhart County. So they have access to the manufacturers. They have access to the suppliers. They use them for I know Lippert's done training over there. Now, you also did some Lippert training. Was it you, Mike, or was it both of you?
Mike.
Yeah, it was me.
Talk a little bit about the Lippert training, because they're doing a lot more of that now. A lot of these companies, to resolve these issues of not enough technicians and not enough people to fix things, Lippert also has launched a really good program. Talk a little bit about that, Mike.
I think it's pretty phenomenal. A lot of the manufacturers have been seeing returned items on warranty that are still good, just the technician couldn't figure out how to make it right. And so in order to help fix that, Lippert, among others, have gone to training technicians on their products. And so that was what we were interested in. They've built a phenomenal social group with Lippert Scouts.
Right.
And so doing the technical training, doing the Scouts, there's a lot of informed owners now. They have a series for that too, Informed Owner School. And it's like education is invaluable. It's something nobody can take from you.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about the Informed Owner School. I think I've seen something on it, but is that something they do at rallies? They
do. They have the set schedule on the Lippert training group. And so they have them set around different events, across the states.
And then if you join Lippert Scouts, if you decide to do that as an RVer, they have an app, always an app for it, right?
Everybody's got an app, right?
Yeah. So they have a whole section on, owner education.
John, does SpaghettiOs have an app?
Yes.
Tells you where you can buy the SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, it tells you where you can buy it in dented cans, so it's even cheaper.
I need to get this app.
Yeah, well, dented outward.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
We have run out of time. See, I told you we'd never know that 8 o'clock. So all of a sudden we look up and say, "Oh man, it's over." So we try to be faithful to our fans because they've given us an hour of their time. Steve, hold on, let me do it real quickly here. The can with a string. That's what I said, Steve. You're a little bit late on that one. What software products do you use to run your business?
We've got some inspection software. We don't like to use names too much, but we've got some inspection software. We have the QuickBooks, to do work orders and stuff like that.
We have some scheduling processes that help with that, so it's not just, Antiphone.
We're working with, is it Cody Talbert, that is helping develop an app for technicians. So hopefully they'll be able to develop that. They're out of Plant City.
Yep.
All right, Don Hodge says thank you for.
Thank you so much. By the way, Bob, they're both veterans, so we need to thank both of them, not just the Marines.
I did.
No, I think think.
Oh no, you're right. I did thank Mike. I did not thank Krystal. Right.
Thank you,
Krystal.
I appreciate you, and you guys too. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
Mr. Sell wins the contest.
He's fine.
Oh, you win, Bill. All right, Krystal, Mike, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks so much. We've enjoyed it.
It was great to meet you guys.
Run up
great day
down the road, and maybe we'll try to grab lunch before we.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We'll see you
Anytime,
next week.
we'll push everything to the side for you.
I'll turn that sign around.
Yeah, turn that side around. All right. Good night,
See you
everybody.
next week.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.